I'm Aroma Revi, the director of the Indian Institute for Human Settlements and an IPCC coordinating lead author. Today, I'm going to tell you how Volume 2 of the AR6 Summary for Urban Policymakers series establishes what the latest science on impacts, adaptation, and vulnerability means for cities and urban areas. Everything is connected in an urban world. In a world with over 4 billion urban residents, cities, the economy, and human societies are strongly coupled with the climate system and ecosystems. A change in one system impacts the other. Rapid urbanization, changing land use, demographic shifts, and growing inequality and unsustainable consumption have driven greenhouse gas emissions, ecosystem degradation, and biodiversity loss. In all parts of the world, these trends pose an existential challenge to our societies, economies, and cities. We need systemic and accelerated climate action to address this. Cities and urban areas are a powerful entry point to do this. The risks and impacts of climate change are clear. Even at current global warming levels, cities experience significant impacts from climate change. Urban adaptation policies and plans must prepare for an average global temperature rise exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius. The concentration of people, inadequate buildings, poor infrastructure, and inadequate basic services makes climate risks worse in many urban areas. Climate impacts are felt disproportionately in socioeconomically marginalized communities because of the intersection of these risks with urban poverty, vulnerability, inequality, and uneven adaptive capacities. Urban areas are part of and home to regional ecosystems and biodiversity, which are experiencing increasing impact of heat waves, droughts, and floods. The nature of climate risks is also changing in an urbanizing world. They are becoming increasingly systemic, simultaneous, and ripple out across locations and time, leading to cascading and compounding impacts. Urban adaptation is happening, but significant gaps remain. Over 100 cities of varying sizes and locations have developed climate adaptation plans. About 170 countries include adaptation in their policies and planning processes. But the fact remains that even if all planned adaptation was implemented, most risks faced by cities and urban areas would not be addressed. Urban adaptation options reduce risk, but unevenly and inadequately. There are limits to adaptation in and around urban areas, particularly as warming increases. While soft adaptation limits may be overcome by adopting appropriate policies, hard limits require transformational adaptation. Any further delay in concerted global action on urban adaptation will miss the rapidly closing window to secure a livable future for all. System transitions are the key to successful climate action. And to address systemic risk to coupled systems, we need to move beyond sectoral and sequential action in all world regions. We need to enable 5 simultaneous system transitions to urban and infrastructure systems, land, coastal, ocean, and freshwater ecosystems, energy, industrial systems, all of which are accelerated by societal choices and transitions. Together, these transitions advance sustainable development along with adaptation and mitigation. The urban and infrastructure system transition can be accelerated by implementing feasible adaptation options, of which there are several. Many of these feasible options have strong synergies with mitigation. These include urban and regional planning that promote compact urbanization and protect ecosystems, upgrading informal settlements by investing in accessible, climate-resilient infrastructure and services, locally relevant nature-based solutions that can reduce risk, mitigate greenhouse gases, and deliver multiple health and development benefits. Developing social infrastructure and services such as health, education, social safety nets, climate services, and disaster risk reduction. Enabling conditions accelerate system transitions. The feasibility and accelerated implementation of adaptation options that together make up the system transitions are enabled by inclusive governance and strong institutional capacity, adequate finance, technology and innovation, lifestyle and behavior change, monitoring and evaluation mechanisms, and attention to culture and heritage. climate resilient development combines strategies to adapt to climate change with actions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to support sustainable development for everyone. Societal choices can place cities on appropriate adaptation pathways. It is critical to link adaptation with sustainable development through these adaptation pathways, which are sequences of adaptation options driven by continuous and effective societal choices and decision-making that will move us towards climate-resilient development. Climate adaptation is often associated with specific projects or discrete actions and is typically short-term. Adaptation expands into climate-resilient development when it connects to sustainable development and mitigation, taking a longer time horizon and involving a broad array of stakeholders making active choices to accelerate deep transformational change. Cities and urban areas offer critical spaces to realize climate-resilient development by implementing adaptation and mitigation simultaneously, with significant potential co-benefits for sustainable development and biodiversity conservation. For example, nature-based solutions can provide resilience to multiple climate hazards, sequester carbon dioxide, and enhance livelihood. However, these are constrained if they are not distributed equitably or if they displace existing livelihoods. Cities hold the key to climate-resilient development. Cities and urban areas have a central role to play in the system transitions and future transformations needed to adapt to and mitigate the climate crisis. Our climate is our future.